All right, and we're back for another episode of the Department Podcast with Justin, Jesse, and Steve. Earlier in the week, we did a little review / mini pod of Madden's, quick little stream of the upcoming Ultimate Team mode for Madden 21. Now, you guys have played the 10 hours yet. I haven't because I don't have my Xbox back yet, but I'll get that eventually. Initially, you guys quickly though, you guys said it's pretty good so far, right?
I like it a lot. It's really fun. I was thinking to myself, is it because it's new? Is it because I've been waiting for this? And I honestly don't think it's because of that. I think the gameplay is a lot better. Like you can't upgrade the graphics too much. Graphics mainly stay the same. It's just everything feels smooth and it's fun. Honestly, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's always that aspect of like, oh, this is better because it's new, but the gameplay actually does feel a lot smoother. That also could be as of right now because we're playing with lower overalls and we haven't broken the game yet. So we'll see how it holds up in like a month or two when people have the Barry Sanders and he's flicking all over the place.
There's already a 93 Barry Sanders out there. So
and Barry's always he's always a dirty card to use. So once you have like a Barry Sanders with like 94 speed probably or whatever he has, it's going to be when you're running
92.
Around.
I think he's the fastest card in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how he eventually stacks up to when everyone has like an 85 overall, 3-speed Richard Sherman in the secondary. But we'll probably talk more about Madden, maybe when new content drops like every series or new program here and there, we'll touch base on it. But we're going to stay with sports video games for this one, and 2K dropped a blog on their Myteam finally. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And right now, initially, the blog was extremely dense. Normally, they don't really do live streams, kind of like what Madden does. They just give out a text document and says, here, read it. And
a lot of words.
Initially, from reading it, it just sounds like they're going to finally be as transparent as they've needed to be in the past with when they're releasing things, how they're approaching it. Because we've seen in like the previous 2Ks where it'll be about 3 months of just radio silence of what's going on with the mode. Everyone gets antsy. No one knows what's going on. And that's kind of how the game dies. So initially, right off the bat, it seems like they're going to try to be more consistent and give actual timeframes of when things are going to launch. And that can overall help the health of the mode, specifically, for me at least.
Yeah, for sure. I never liked Myteam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a My Career guy. I've always been a My Career guy ever since I've been playing 2K. I've been playing 2K longer than I've been playing Madden, but this is getting me intrigued in Myteam. I don't know about you, Jess. Jesse, you're the 2K expert over here. What are you feeling?
So I think there's a lot of good stuff here. Again, the transparency is, I think, the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because the biggest knock on 2K has been their lack of telling us when things are going to happen. We never have any idea, like even something simple as moments cards last year's.
Mm-hmm, yes.
They did moments of the week for like 10 weeks, but then they also did regular moments cards, and then they waited like 3 weeks, and then we're like, oh, actually moments of the week aren't coming back. And it's like, just tell us what you're doing.
And
like, that's all we want.
And the worst
thing, just know.
And the worst thing that they were never, ever on the same page with the community, telling people what's going on. Dynamic duos. They would just never update with
these. Were not referenced.
Like for me at least, being a Wizards fan, a new Beal card would come out, and when Wall would actually play, a new Wall card would come out here and there. You would think, oh, let's update, the Diamond Wall and the Diamond Beal to have a duo together. Nope, they wouldn't even do it. So maybe they say like, in the blog, they didn't really touch on duos, I don't think at all, right?
No, I didn't see one mention of duos.
So maybe they're gone. But if they are back, maybe do like, bi-weekly, they update the duos if new cards come out. But it's just that because they just need to be transparent. Like Madden, they're wishy-washy on when they'll update. Like you kind of get a time frame of when it's coming out, and you kind of see when things expire. But the best one who does it is MLB, where each week on the main page, they'll put out a calendar of, all right, Monday this comes out, Wednesday this comes out, and Friday this comes out. So I think looking at the 2K blog, they're going very similar, like how ranked is going to work, how seasons is going to work, similar to Madden and MLB of, actually doing a ranked thing, in a series rather than just here's 1 month, go 12-0, that's it.
It's like they finally realized that other games are doing it better than they're doing it. Yeah, it's like they finally woke up. Ronnie and Mike Wang weren't like sitting around doing nothing now. They realize, like you said, MLB is like you said. I don't know MLB. You know MLB. I will know MLB eventually, but when that time comes, it comes. But Madden, yeah, go ahead.
Like MLB has been the most consistent sports game, and like when we were in high school, when my team really started coming up and was the popular thing to play, you know, they were the go-to create team fantasy mode, and Ultimate Team was always kind of there. Then Ultimate Team slowly overtook it, and then FIFA Ultimate Team slowly overtook Madden, and then 2K was just kind of like, well, we're still good, right? And they kind of rested on their laurels. So maybe this was finally, and at least from the blog, it's showing that maybe that swift kick in the ass of we're not the top fantasy mode anymore. You know, maybe this is what's kind of rejuvenating the mode a little bit.
As far as 2K20 went, there's no way you could put it higher than like number 4 in the Ultimate Team tier list. Of MLB was obviously better, Madden was obviously better, and FIFA was better. I mean, 2K struggled the whole year. I've heard NHL's Ultimate Team is really bad.
It's very similar.
It's very bare.
Yeah, it's very Madden 12-esque, like Madden 10 to 12-esque Ultimate Team, Clarke.
Yeah.
But picture then the chemistry system of FIFA.
They also have like 2 devs that work on it.
I also love how they call it Hockey Ultimate Team and not NHL Ultimate Team, so it wouldn't be nut.
Maybe we'll have to ask Jesse's good friend Josh Tini about HUT.
But so right off the bat though for 2K, they're doing seasons for multiplayer, it seems like. So they're going to be 6 weeks long, and basically it's kind of like MLB where you have ranked points where each win you'll get a ranked thing, but instead of hitting like a threshold like an MLB where it's like wild card, pennant race, playoff, divisional, World Series, etc., they're going by levels, which is basically the same thing. In each level or every so levels you'll get a reward. And that makes sense because the 12-0 going 12-0 was so outdated. It was abused to the point where people would literally just.
You still have to go 12-0.
I know.
If you want a different card.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but what I'm saying is like it would be literally people would go say, you know, December 31st. You know, there'd be 11-0. January 1st happens. All right, you just have to win one game, and then you went 12-0 for the month without even trying really. So,
Justin, that was 2 years ago. They got rid of that.
But still.
I don't know why you still bring that up for 20. They got rid of it.
But I still barely didn't even play, but you still have to go 12-0, which is still stupid.
Yes,
you know?
Agreed. 12-0 was stupid.
Having to go
We're all on the same page there.
Because because you would see people, you know, almost like paying people to go 12-0 for them.
You've seen a lot of people pay people.
So that's why
there was a very big market for that.
That's why, you know, shifting things to this way, it makes a lot more sense because people who are actually casual players or not as good players to go 12-0 will actually have a better shot at getting those rewards.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree.
Because they're breaking it up into leagues. The way I look at it is the Myteam Unlimited this year is Myteam Unlimited and then Myteam Online from 2K17, and they just put them together, which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah,
that's 2K17 there was Bronze League, you needed 3 wins and you could advance. Silver, 4 wins, you know, et cetera, et cetera. That's pretty much what they're doing. But that was fine. They never needed to really change that. It makes sense if you're in the Bronze League playing against other, you know, should-be Bronze League players. You only need 3 wins to advance. You can literally lose 8 games and still move up. That, at least on the scale until you get to, like, that Galaxy Opal and Pink Diamond when you have to go, like, 11-1 and 12-0, that is going to take so much of the sweatiness out of it because you're like, okay, I have to win 3 games. Like, whatever. I have to win 4 games. Like, okay, that's, like, literally, like, 30% of the games I play I need to win. Okay, sure.
Fine. Yeah.
That's easy. But I like the levels.
Me too.
And this is a thing I've thought Madden should do. The levels should reset each season/series. Because in Madden, we all know if you play, you're at level 100 by October. Easily.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're right.
This, you are leveling up, and then every season you get to level. I'm pretty sure, like Justin, you said in MLB, there's like kind of a prestige thing
so the way
you
MLB
get
works,
set back.
So for MLB, there's 100 levels, but you go tiered where it's like bronze tier, silver tier, gold, diamond, and then this year they added a fifth one, prestige. So basically the way it works, it's like silver is however much XP. Silver is then 1.5 times XP of what the original was. Gold was 2 times of bronze, silver was, and then diamond was 3 times, and then prestige was take all of bronze through diamond added together, and that was the prestige. So it takes a long time.
That's a lot.
Like, I'll put it this way, I have about 20 days in game of Diamond Dynasty, and I'm 76 prestige. So it takes a while to get through that.
And we know how you grind through stuff too.
Oh, and I'll play on hours on. And basically, to put it in perspective, 1 prestige level is about 5 normal levels worth of XP for the diamond tier. So it takes a long freaking time to do it.
That's crazy.
But
I do like this level system though. I like the resetting.
Yeah, the reset definitely helps, and that's kind of what it seems like they're doing, which was their biggest knock was they never really said when things are coming out. Like, the token market was the biggest thing. Like, okay, here are 3 out-of-dated Galaxy Opal cards for 750 tokens. When are the next ones coming out? Like, Jesse, I know you were always king of, I'm just going to sit on my tokens because there's going to be better cards down the road, but you have no idea when the hell that's going to be. Meanwhile, you have me completing bullshit collections that I have no idea what's going on with, and I'll get, like, every single diamond card that'll be outdated in 3 minutes. The seasons is a good way because that's how MLB paces it, and even Madden to an extent with series.
Yeah.
It gives you time frames that you have a rough estimate of when things will be updated.
Yep.
And it's a good enough window that will keep the developers on track.
Boom.
Yeah. Because they're updating reward market every season, triple threat online and offline every season. Good. Domination, they said not every season, but possibly every other or at certain times. Certain seasons can bring spotlight sims. Certain seasons can do, maybe spotlights like how they had last year. Yeah. So it just, as long as they keep putting in some content throughout the seasons, hopefully it's not just, the first 2 weeks of the season everybody's playing, and then the last 4 weeks everybody already has everything, so they're done.
And the season aspect of things, we've seen it come into these games almost as a result of like battle royale games like Fortnite and even Warzone now, with games that have battle passes, where it's a set amount of time and then it gives you a roadmap of what content you can expect to get. That's like what MLB, they give the calendar. It's essentially a roadmap. If 2K says, okay, it's a 6-week long period, week 1 you're getting this, week 2 you're getting this, week 3 you're getting a big half season update, 4 and 5 are smaller things. Maybe every Friday is when they drop moment cards every week, or maybe every so often that's when they'll do, or like maybe then halfway through they'll do duos, and at the end of the season they'll do another duo. So then every 3 weeks they're updating dynamic duos. So there are things that you can do with the season because of the allotted time.
Since they didn't mention duos, this is me just speculating. I think it's going to be next gen.
Oh.
I think that's going to be one of the things, and maybe possibly just because I know people have asked for this before, they could do a big 3 kind of thing instead of just duos.
We saw that.
I think that'd be good.
Was it last year or was it the year before, Jesse? You'll know it better. Remember when it was like Clay and Curry were a duo, but then Clay and Durant were also a duo. So if you played all 3,
yes, it was 4 of them. It was Draymond and Clay, or it was Draymond and Durant and Curry and Clay.
Yeah, so there was some crossover.
Yeah, yes. Well, I think that's good, but I would love a triple kind of option. I don't know if they're going to do it. They could totally have just killed duos, but the community really likes duos as much as they don't like doing them.
Because you have 2 ends of the spectrum where you have Madden that is just going full RPG basically with chemistry, where customize your team however the hell you want. Yeah. Then you have MLB where it's just, here you go, throw them on the field, that's how they play. 2K was always half-assed, like, we want to do a chemistry type of thing, but also not.
But also no, yeah.
But then also at the same time, it's like coaches are kind of like chemistry, but not really.
But they were also coaches didn't coaches mattered, but after a month or 2 months into the game, everybody had a diamond coach.
And then that's when they were maxed out on all type of play styles, and you could throw whoever, and then your lineups were fine. So that's where I really want them to figure out, even if maybe they kind of just leave it half-assed now on this generation, commit one way. Are you going full in where it's, full team building, or just sim, just here you go? But if you're going to go sim, you almost want team building because that's how they play better together. So they just need to decide which way they want to go with that. And if they kill duos, I think they're going to slowly try to move away from it then. Or if they revamp duos on next gen, then they're probably fully going in on it.
I think they have to go full in. I think they have to.
I think the community likes duos enough that I think that's going to be one of their things at launch on the next gen is going to be duos.
And I think trios, like you said too, would be awesome. That'd be so much fun. It just adds more. Cool. It adds more to the game. That's what we want.
It's all about replay, and also then it makes teams different.
Exactly.
We talked about it, on the Madden podcast where MLB they're just launching 99s out left and right, or at least high 90, like 8 overall cards. So then you have that can compete because then at least that way you have some differentiating aspects of each lineup. Yeah, you'll have the core cards that everyone will have, like your Mike Trout, your Babe Ruth, and so forth. But there are different aspects of it. Same thing with Madden now. It's like. At the end of the year,
too.
That's the thing. But Madden gets stale at a point where you see everyone have all golden tickets, and that's it. But that's why if they put in, but at least with chemistries, you can mix and match and have different aspects of it. That's why how we see how the ability points is going to work because you're going to screw around then, and that's where 2K is lacking. Where you need something that incentivizes you to play with different cards. Mm-hmm. Now, did they one thing for Unlimited before we get into like straight up online because we're getting 2 different modes for online this year, sort of. Did they announce that they're bringing back, position locks back?
It's pretty much well known, that they are going to be back because everything has their things listed.
And that'll work for about 3 months until they start going.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Last year they said no more goofy lineups. This year, they didn't say anything about lineups so far. So I think they're gonna double down on that and putting other players at point guard. But hitting on some online, triple threat this year. I'm pretty sure this one is offline, but the triple threat ladder this year. The first season's going to be 300 wins. That's when you get your card. They didn't say which one it is. But then the next season, it's going to be 450 wins. Jesus. But it's going to build, so you'll only need an additional 150.
Oh,
if you got to the 300. Cool. I think anyway. That's the way
that's how it
should
be, and I like that because once again, it staggers it then because it incentivizes you to play for a little bit, but then go try another mode. Because last year it was here's 1,000 wins, go get your Dominic Wilkins, and that's it.
And also that card is outdated after about 3
exactly.
But at least it paces people then, because I never got the 1,000 wins. Jesse, I know you didn't even get.
I got to the Jason Williams, so maybe 200.
But at least with this one, it paces people out to where you have to grind a little bit at the start, but then after that, it's paced out a little bit, and that way then they can update the card where it's not outdated right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, well, and they're still going to have the vault in the offline, and then thank God for this, the ball drop is going to be faster.
Oh my God!
It's going to be faster. That's the biggest takeaway from this blog. Is that
literally just let them drop. Just let the balls drop. That's it.
Like I like the Plinko thing, but the worst thing with the Plinko is that it'll hit your reward that you want and then ricochet up and then go fall through and then reset and then. I remember I watched a thing on YouTube where it was like a 6-minute video where the ball kept resetting and cycling through and the guy was stuck.
Yeah. They're also supposed to be putting up a page thing of when you go in, you see what rewards are available on what boards for Triple Threat Online, which is good because there were times – I remember a time last year – this year, I guess. Tracy McGrady – was on triple threat boards for about 2 hours before 2K tweeted about it.
Wow.
So people were like tweeting randomly like, oh my God, I just got Tracy McGrady on my triple threat board. And then everybody got on triple threat. And then about like an hour and a half later, 2K Myteam put out a tweet that was like, hey, Tracy McGrady's on boards.
That's ridiculous.
And it was like, yeah, that's cool, but you're really late.
Exactly.
Yeah, so,
and then for me, sticking with kind of like the offline grind, with the seasons, finally, each season will come with a new domination, which it's needed because
allegedly.
We'll I don't even need it every season. Do like every other season. Every other, because here's the thing: if they're gonna do a 33 game domination every month or so, or however long, month and a half, that's going to be a slog to get through because that takes a long time to get through.
Yeah, because they're full games.
It's going to chew through contracts like hell. But at least with, in theory, with them updating it, it should update the cards so you don't have a Sean Kemp with 1 Hall of Fame badge and 3 silvers and nothing else that's outdated by week 3. So at least then, if they keep current and update the cards and the rewards with the board and the rest of the game, this can work in practice.
Yeah. We also seen Domination take a different turn last year because what it used to be was you played through Domination with your bad team. You got a couple golds here and there. You added them to your lineup. Eventually, once you got to the all-star teams, then you got like those Sapphire and Ruby players. Mm-hmm. Last year, every team gave you an Evo card, and a lot of them were pretty good at launch.
Yeah.
So, you could have a full team, and then you had to Evo them to get the rewards.
That was the worst part of it.
So Domination was an even bigger grind, but there were, at least in the start of the year, it was a very good use of evolutions. So it'll be interesting to see if they stick with that evolution domination or if they go back to the normal. Honestly, either one is okay with me because if they give you regular players, just even golds and emeralds and stuff, those cards have new value because there is a new thing in the game called the exchange.
Ooh, baby.
Which is actually what I am most excited for.
And it's coming straight out of the book of Madden, basically, from the look of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll break this down a little bit because I've seen a couple videos on it that people had put up.
You're definitely a lot more qualified than I am.
Me too.
I'm going right off of your notes, Jesse.
Yep.
There was one picture I seen. It was of a 95 Pink Diamond Bob Cousy, which also, by the way, they might be redoing some card tiers. I think the 99 might be called like Dark Matter or something. Not sure.
But, saw that Dark Matter, yeah.
Why don't they just bring back Obsidian? Like just
just Minecraft.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty now has.
But so specifically for this Bob Cousy one, right? You need 2 amethysts. Or 2 Laker amethysts, 1 regular amethyst, like 6 rubies, and then at the bottom there were some other ones of like 12 emeralds, and then it was called like originally owned, meaning you needed to obtain them. You can't just buy them off the auction.
So you basically got to pull them, or you got to pull.
You would need to pull them from packs, or you would need to get them through like playing the game and getting packs and stuff like that.
That's cool. That's
really
cool.
There were also things hinted at the blog of trade in a 90 overall point guard from the Eastern Conference, 90 overall card from the Western Conference. You could maybe get like a 94 point guard. So this means that bronzes, silvers, golds, emeralds, all those cards lose value almost immediately.
Yeah.
Will hold some type of value.
And see, and that's
which
what it needs
helps pack sales so much. Because when you open packs, the worst feeling is when you just made, like, not even like you lost some, like you just lost it all. Like you opened a 15,000 VC pack and you got an emerald that sells for 600 MT. Like you feel like garbage.
Yeah.
So at least this way, cards will have a little bit more value, which is another thing 2K has really struggled with throughout the year. Madden struggles with that a little bit too, but the sets fix that.
Yeah, sets.
Which is, I think, exactly what they're doing here. That is actually really, that's the thing I'm most excited for. They're also going to update the exchanges every season.
And that's basically what Madden does, where we see they go from like, an 88, 2 88s get you a 90, to then 2 90s get you a 92. And that's just overall helps the health of the game long term.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, big time. So I think the exchange is definitely
it was needed.
What I'm most excited for.
It was needed. It had to have, like you said,
that was really
there's no value.
That was really the only game that didn't have it, because even MLB has it to where you can exchange X amount of silver for a gold card. We've never seen them go from gold to silver, but gold cards, you can quick sell obviously the stub, scale is different than like 2K or Madden, but gold cards you can still sell for a decent amount.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and the tough part with 2K was they did sets where you locked cards in for, like promos, you got one big player and you like locked them in, or you got tokens, which, as we said before, the token market was very up and down. So should you really lock in? And then you have these cards that you're holding on to that are always in your collection that are just decreasing in value over and over again. So the exchange is going to help with those cards that, maybe you don't want to sell them for MT because there's no card on the auction block that you really want. But if you're grinding, you can get the 95 Bob Cousy. Now, if he's only available for a month, he is more rare.
Now, here's my thing. Do they say if you can transfer the cards, like say you do a team collection, can you transfer the cards that you locked in and exchange them?
I would imagine not.
Okay.
I don't know if team collections will be back. I'd assume they are. I would assume anything that's locked in, you cannot.
Did they mention anything on collector level?
No. I hope collector level's dead and gone.
Yeah, I hope, because it's just stupid where it's like, sit on these cards, get, an extreme amount of,
I think collector level is being replaced with the level system.
Okay.
Which is much needed.
Yeah, I'd
which
rather
is
have the level
much
system.
needed. The collector level having a base thing come out in the beginning of the year, and I mean the collector level was so bad this year, they needed to make Signature Series 2 just so they could reach their quota of cards.
They basically just re-released an updated roster for post.
And it was bad, and none of the cards were.
And you know what's amazing too? The top goal was a Galaxy Opal Dwayne Wade, which basically wasn't the pink diamond one from his prime card better anyway.
It was pretty much the same, and then also he had a diamond takeover card that was about 3K that also felt the same. And if you paired him with Showtime, or maybe it was Takeover Chris Bosch, he basically went up to a Galaxy Opal. I used him. Yeah. It was like a 3K Galaxy Opal. It was crazy. It was ridiculous.
That's wild.
Speaking of those cards, the biggest thing really at the end of the day for 2K that differentiated the majority of cards, because a lot of times you see cards with similar stats that do similar things among the same player. You can have 3 different Anthony Davises, and at the end of the day, they all do the same thing. The biggest thing was badges. Originally when we saw badges introduced, they were pack filler, and they went bye-bye, and then you couldn't do anything with them, and then it was just an assigned value to this one, and that was it. Well, those are coming back to a certain degree.
So I'll break this down a little bit more, too, for how they did it in 20. They said, we don't want to break the game. We don't want super overpowered cards. We don't want you to have Giannis with range extender. So we're taking away the ability for you guys to put on badges. And then they just gave all the players just the dumbest badges anyway.
Yeah.
So it didn't really work at all. Then there were also cards that were quite literally unusable because they didn't have clamps. Clamps was a badge every single card needed. You literally
clamps.
Needed it. You could not run a team without clamps.
No, for sure. For sure.
So they took away badges to try to make it more realistic in simulation. But then halfway through the year, they decided, screw simulation. We're going full arcade. Which, if that's your thing, sure, go ahead. Go fully in that. But then don't take away the badges that people can put on other players. That being said, you can put badges on players again, but it's different. Because you can only put certain badges on certain players with archetypes. For instance, if Giannis is listed as a probably rim protecting 4 or maybe a point forward 4, he probably cannot get range extender. In the same way that a point guard like Steph Curry probably can't get brick wall.
Makes sense.
Maybe intimidator.
It's going back to the Madden archetype. It's going back to the Madden archetype, how certain cards can't get certain X factors and abilities.
Of course. It makes sense.
It makes sense.
I think archetypes are good as long as they make sense and as long as you don't just like midway through the year, do not release a point guard Giannis whose archetype is a sharpshooter.
Like,
that kills the
Don't
game.
do that.
It kills the game.
Like, that's fine for the end game. You know, when people just want to screw
Yeah.
around, that's fine.
But don't do that in March.
No.
That's something you should release once the game is dead and the
I
NBA
would say
season is over.
after the finals. Do that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. After the finals, in the summer sometime, fine.
And I'm also, like, I'm fine with players who play point guard that aren't normally point guards. Like Jokic and Giannis, I'm fine with point guard cards.
Yeah.
But make them restricted. Don't make a 99 everything point guard Giannis.
Here's the thing.
Make him a really bad three-point shooter.
Or, like, make their defense a lot worse.
Yeah,
They're
like, you
technically
have to
out
do
of position.
some type of balance.
Yeah.
But going back to the badges, Hall of Fame badges will be available to put on a player, but they're going to be rare. And from what I've read, it doesn't seem like they're going to be in packs.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to get them through rewards of playing the game. In the picture that we've seen of Steph Curry is the season 1 level reward for level 40. He's like a 95 or a 96. The level 39 is a Hall of Fame badge.
Wow.
I don't know if that's a random Hall of Fame badge, if you pick it, if, you know,
it's like a pack
how that's
you...
going to go. I don't know if you maybe can sell it on the auction block. But I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's a good way to do it.
It's just a good way because then you can screw around with customization, you know?
Yeah. Make it fun for yourself, honestly.
So, real quick, we got a few more minutes before we're hit up by the old Zoom clock again. 2 things I want to touch on, Evolutions and Ascension. So, Evolutions, basically, it's similar to training to an extent, sort of, where you get to put whatever abilities you want on. Now you can choose how you want to evolve the card. Rather than just getting X amount of stats to everything, you can choose better shooter or better defender or rebounder or something like that. So that's good.
That is also going to be limited to what I think 2K decides.
Yeah,
like
which is
the
fun.
example they used was Shaq is one of the starter players. So to upgrade Shaq, there was a challenge of, do you want him to be a better rebounder or a better shot blocker? For rebounding, it was 150 points, 100 rebounds. For blocking, it was 150 points, 20 blocked shots. And it differs like that, which I think is good.
I think it's fine too.
It gives slight differences that not every card and every team is basically the same then.
Yeah.
You know? So that's good because I hope the days of 3,000 points, 400 three-point shots, 300 rebounds, I hope those are gone.
Yeah, me too.
But if they're going to scale Evolution, scale it humanely, please. Like that's my thing.
Somewhat obtainable to get, like, come on.
Make it realistic. So finally, the final thing is Ascension. Jesse, you want to roll with this one?
So Ascension is essentially, it seems like from, if you guys remember from 2K17, there was the Gauntlet. And when you won games in the Gauntlet, depending on what league you were in, you got a certain amount of picks. And it was kind of like cards on the table, you know, all flipped over. So you had to flip them and see what you got.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what Ascension is going to be, but they're doing it as like tiers, like you pick one card on the bottom, it could, you know, propel you up or you could be done, and like that's the only card you get, where the really good players are at the top. So it's kind of like a guessing game.
That's fun, though.
The only thing that's a little confusing is I don't know when it activates. Like, I don't know when we get Ascension. It would make sense if it was like after a triple threat great game or triple threat online or something, but I don't think they've really listed what it is. So it might be like its own mini game,
or maybe it's tied to levels for ranked.
True.
Could be. That could be it too.
You know, like kind of like as the filler levels where they have really nothing planned for it.
Yeah, that could be it. There's like, I think they have some stuff like planned for it. It's just interesting.
They didn't really touch on.
And they're going to do it. Yeah.
Maybe
another thing. The Idol series is replacing Prime series.
Basically the same thing,
which replaced the 2K anniversaries. It's the really good cards. Yeah. They're making them big so they can sell packs.
Basically.
And the last thing that I think we are all most excited about that I really wanted to hit on is the Myteam Limited. It is the weekend league, essentially. It is available Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And there's going to be some restrictions to help balance teams. And you are playing for what they call championship rings. which if you acquire all of them in a season, you get an overpowered card at the end of that season.
Lovely.
But some of the things were like, you can only use 3-point contestants. You can only use 1 ruby, and everything else has to be below a ruby. And, just different restrictions. I think that's good. That's what people wanted. People wanted balanced gameplay where, there is a ranked mode or like a casual mode and also a mode where skill pans out.
I like it.
So, and an underrated thing that because some people were like, oh, well, how are we going to be able to know what cards qualify and everything? They're going to add little championship rings onto the cards in the bottom. That's so cool. Know what cards can play.
That's like kind of like in MLB. Literally, they'll just put up a big yellow banner on the top corner of the card where it says event eligible. So like they will tell you, like you won't be in the dark. So that's good.
Cool.
So any last thoughts before we wrap up real quick? It was a good blog. If similar to Madden, it's all good in theory. They have to put it in practice. And if it pays off, this could be a very good Myteam for it's hit a rough patch for the past 3 years, I'd probably say.
Yeah, I would agree. Since, again, 2K17 was, I think, the last really good 2K we got. And they're taking 2K17 and kind of some of the foundational things that worked in 2K20 and putting them together. Hopefully the seasons helps them get on track, because that was really their biggest thing, was just not knowing when to put content out.
Yeah. For sure. I'm excited.
Maybe you actually play this year, Clarke, but
maybe.
Give us the old outro real quick.
All right.
Got a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Department Podcast. You guys liked the last video game episode? We gave you another video game episode. Let us know what you like. Leave a comment on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe Apple Podcast. Subscribe on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Department_pod. We appreciate you guys listening again. We'll see you in the next episode.